All right, so good evening, everyone. Welcome to our second live stream, and welcome back to our channel. So happy that we are here tonight and holding this second live stream about K photography. So, for all of you that are watching or will be watching this, feel free to interact with us at any time, or using the chat or using the comments below. And if you have any questions or if you have any ideas of next themes, just let us know and we'll be bringing for you. Is that okay? And so tonight we will talk about K photography, as you all know, with our four guests. Okay, so we have Daniel from Brazil, we have Lorenzo from Italy, we have Paul, that is a SUI community member as well, and Adam from here in Ireland. And it would be really nice to talk with them. And thank you guys for accepting the invite. And hope you enjoy this live as much I'm already enjoying it. So I believe it would be nice to start with Paul, and then I will let you talk. And after, so the plan is we have 10 minutes of presentation to talk to do our presentations, and then we will have 5 minutes of discussion. And if you have any questions, just send to us, and I will let them know. Okay, and we'll be talking and just chatting about them. Is that all right? Okay. So Paul, please come to us.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to get started. I'm just going to transition over to my screen. So, any technical issues, just bear with us. This is our second time running this live stream. So, yeah, so today I'm going to be doing a quick chat about getting started with cave photography from a novice's perspective. So, for me, I have been dealing with photography now for the last couple of years. I've always delved in it and I've always really enjoyed it, but I've never really thought of it more than just a hobby. And so, just a little bit about me. I'm based in Northern Ireland, and mainly my experience revolves around landscape photography. As a bit of part time work, I work in a framing and printing lab, and I really wanted to try and mix together my two hobbies, which is caving and photography. So, this is a good photo. This is just of me on Sunday up at the Giant's Causeway at Port Coon. And so, really, I'm going to just go into a few photos that I've taken as landscapes, and then we'll go into the cave photography style of stuff. So, I love landscape photography. To me, it's a very nice, relaxing, and peaceful experience. You really can get to know the environment and feel connected with it at any time. And the Giant's Causeway always has a nice bit in my heart. I always find peace up there, and it's quite calming. And with the current ongoing crisis, as everyone knows, it was a relief to finally get back up there 3 months later, and take some nice photos. Maybe not the best. I might be a bit out of practice, but it's as good as you can get. Outside of this, I also did a bit of landscape photography up in the Dachstein area when I was on a caving expedition last year. And this is probably one of my favourite shots of Adam Pryor, who's also in the call with us, just staring out as some fog and mist comes over the landscape. So, and again, we have another lovely shot of sunsets. And sunsets and sunrises to me are nice and relaxing photos to take. So, and I also do a bit of commercial style work as well, helping out with different people wherever needed, mostly within the university. So, cave photography then, where do you start? It can seem quite strange at first to think, okay, yes, all I need is a camera and maybe a couple of people, but it's taking that leap. I always find it very difficult to take the leap, to start to take photos underground. And there's a few challenges posed. First is getting underground with your friends, and then also getting your equipment down there and posing idea. And it's always nice climbing down a couple of steps and taking a photo up out of the ground, but it's not really the same effect that you get from other people's photos that you might see online. So I sort of, the goal was set high for me, but really for anyone looking to get started in the hobby, you don't need a lot. And the big thing to really think of with the first idea is the idea. You really need the idea first. What do you want to achieve out of this hobby? You know, where do you want to take the photos? How do you want to take your photos? Do you want them to just be of landscapes, or do you want them to have subjects in them? And so there's a bit of planning that you can do beforehand. Maybe the cave, you have a particular area you want to go to, or maybe you want to have a certain feature in your shot. Um, and then second to this, you really want to try and make the environment safe for both your subjects and yourself, so that no one gets injured while doing the hobby. And then once you've got your idea, the pieces really just start to fall together. Then you get a camera. That can be anything from an old point and shoot, which, as you can see there, that was my first camera, to something maybe a bit more advanced like my DSLR there. Then, or if you don't have the money, that's fine. You really can just use anything. So why not take your phone out? Because surprisingly, a lot of phones these days are really good at taking photos. Next, you need lights. And everyone, when you're caving, of course, you have a light on your head, but sometimes they might not be the best. So it might be an idea to either invest and get very expensive lights, which not very plausible for a lot of people, or just invest in a couple of small, cheap LED lights. A brand I found quite reliable were Ytech lights, which are around €20 for each, so they're not very expensive. And you want to try and get something with a flood if you're starting out, a flood pattern. Now, the difference between a flood and a spotlight, the flood it doesn't shoot as far, so it won't go as far off in the distance, but what you will get out of it is a much wider pattern. And the wider pattern allows you to maybe get a bit more detail in your image that you mightn't have been able to pick up initially, because your head torch on your own light wasn't the best. And probably the biggest thing I would recommend is something to protect your equipment in. And you can get pelly cases or equivalent for not too much money, and they help protect your camera from both water, mud, and maybe small drops. But do note, they're not going to save your camera if you drop it down a 100-meter pitch. So just be mindful. Other equipment you can get if you want to get a bit more advanced are the likes of flash guns, a tripod, or my lovely bright yellow pelly case. And that's what I use to store all of my equipment in. Once you've got all these wee bits of equipment, we really only need the camera, some lights, and something to protect everything in. All you got to do is gather some very excited cavers and go caving. And here you can see Niall, he's very excited. He's hanging off of one side of a post. And then finally, you just need a cave. And once you've got the cave, you can start putting your ideas together. And no matter who you have with you, you'll be able to find something that you enjoy looking at. For me, I really enjoy low light photography, so a lot of my shots tend to be in environments where there's not much light. And I also like to be a bit adventurous with my photography, so I tend to bring candles underground with myself, just to play around with and see what I can make out of a photo. Up close and personal shots are another style you can take. You can get a lot of detail in and a lot of facial expression from your subject. Or you can make things a bit more romantic with a candlelit scene. And really, that's just a small insight into my experience with photography so far. I haven't really done a lot because I'm always too feared to bring my camera underground, and it's really just getting over that curve. But trust me, once you get it, you'll be excited to get started, and you'll get an itch for the subject at hand. And that's it. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll jump back to the panel now.
All right, thank you, Paul, for sharing this. And I believe we can have a quick conversation just about the material that you guys use, and then we can jump to the Neo presentation. What do you think?
Yeah. Does that include us all, Camilla, or is that just me and yourself?
Everyone, I think would be better. Yeah. So, Danielle, as your presentation is going to be the next. Would you like to share with us which material do you use, and if there is some similarities with the Paul's mentioned it?
Yes. Okay. I think actually it's more similar. But I registered a long time with just a small camera, like this one, this Lumix camera is small, and then I got this other, this Sony Alpha 5 is small, and now I got another more professional. But I always registered with very light material to allow us further in the cave and exploring, surveying, and then eventually making photos. So photo was not the main activity. Was just bonus.
It is really important as well. So it's like if you find a new chamber, then we can record it. Yeah. And Lorenzo, does in Italy change much, or which type of materials are you used to work with?
I've always used a DSLR camera. Actually, it's kind of heavy, but I like it. It has a lot of quality, and I prefer quality over lightweight. But you know, I'm young. I still feel a bit strong. So that's I'm not saying that you, Daniel, are old. I just want to say that I don't mind.
I give you my backpack.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I don't mind struggling a bit in the caves, and I've always done a lot of sport, so I'm kind of used to tiring my body, and it's something I really like. And actually, yeah, at the moment I'm using still a DSLR camera, a Nikon D850, and I'm combining it with 4 flashes. That's pretty much all. And I'm combining all my gear with 4 flashes, and well, just that's pretty much all. Usually, I put those flashes inside small, transparent, waterproof bags, so I can carry them around without minding too much about drowning them or damaging somehow during the path. And yeah, do I need to talk a bit about my experience as well?
Yeah, we'll be talking. Yeah, soon. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and Adam, would you mind to say which materials do you use as well?
Adam, your mic's still muted.
Thanks, Paul. I was just saying I'm somewhere between Daniel and Lorenzo, so I have very heavy equipment, but I will complain about it for hours and hours and hours. So I'm not very fun to be within a cave when taking photos. I upgraded to a very large camera recently and a really, really heavy lens, and I use 3 flashes with 3 triggers and a really heavy pelly case. So it's not ideal for bringing really far into caves, but I do prefer quality in my photos over lightweight equipment. So that's all my equipment.
Cool. Okay. So now I think we can come back to the presentations. So we'll be talking with Danielle. And yeah, I'll just let you know actually, because your presentation is just amazing, and I'm super happy that you are with us tonight. So I will just let you talk, okay?
Okay, thank you very much, Camilla. So, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Just give me a second. I'll try and get your screen up here now.
Okay.
One second. There we are now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Okay. So I prepared a very quick presentation. I would like to talk more about the Brazilian caves and Brazilian karst areas, but in 10 minutes, it's almost impossible. So I just put this map to show the karst, the context of the Brazilian karst areas. So we have 3% of carbonate rocks, limestones, is this in blue. And then we have also sandstones and quartzites. And I put it here because Brazil is a very important country in quartzite caves, and it's being explored right now. Okay, so I would like to talk about those areas, but in 10 minutes, I just made a mix with all those areas, and I decided to talk about the purpose of the cave picture. So what's the purpose of the picture? When you are inside the cave and you are with your camera, what you look for to register? So in my opinion, what I do, I am always looking about action and adventure and geomorphologic aspects, science, beauty, and why not funny things. So I'm gonna show you some areas. This is the closest area of my house is 350 kilometers of my house. It's called Petar. It's a natural touristic park, and it's a rainforest. So we have 500 caves discovered, and we are all time discovering. So we are all the time inside the forest, searching for new caves and surveying the caves. Okay, so I like to register this kind of adventure. People going inside the forest, and also the animals we find, like this poisoned snake, very poisoned snake, and also the work of exploration and the topography, the survey the cave. So when you have a light equipment, it's easier to go fast, to go quick, and to register the moments. So even the vertical or like big rooms, very, very far away from the entrance, or even this place, like this cave is in Goiás state. It's 90 kilometers of river and more than 20 waterfalls. It's a very violent cave. If you have tripod, flashes, and heavy camera, it's very difficult to register because we never stop. We even can't talk with each other. So it's difficult to organize a photography. And also to go in the remote places like this other waterfall. It was made with light painting and our own light and without flash. This also without flash, just our own light. And many times I'm not considered as a photographer. I think I am a speleologist, and I like to make photos. So many times I am just exploring, surveying, and I have a camera. So as a bonus, I make a picture of the moment. So I like to make pictures about our job, to drawing the map, and to show the equipment and the topography. I think it's very, very nice to show that. And also it's allow us to make some pictures special, like this was the first time we find a huge room like that, and I could make the picture. So if I had my professional equipment, I would never be exploring in that level. Okay. Now, other kind of picture is when you go right to make pictures. So in this occasion, this is in Toca da Boa Vista. It's the biggest cave in Brazil. It has 114 kilometers. It's a huge hypogenic labyrinth, 30 degrees inside, and humidity at 99%. So when you are inside, you are never dry. And I was there with two scientists. They were studying the paleoclimate, and I was just to make pictures about the activity. So here I have my my camera, my best camera, and also 3 or 4 flashes, and also tripod eventually to use, and also to make a picture about biologists and paleontologists making their research in the cave on finding bones and analyzing these bones. I think it's very, very nice. Also, the purpose of morphologic aspects, it was made to help geologists that study the speleogenesis of the cave. So I tried to show the fracture zone in the rock that originated the cave, or also registering large concretionate rooms like this one, or also huge speleothems, or also curious geologic events like this block fixed in the paleo floor, and at the same time the couples on the rooftop. And also talking about technique, I like very much to use the backflash. So backflash is very nice to emphasize some aspects. Like this, I would like to, I try to emphasize the stalactites, and another flash to emphasize the floor, or emphasize the morphology of the room, or emphasize a speleotheme. You can use a flash behind the speleotheme, or even emphasize the person. So here the person was transpirating a lot, and I put a flash very strong behind to show the transpiration. Also the speleothemes, of course. Or just to emphasize the atmosphere. When people are surveying, and people don't stop to surveying, and I put some flashes in the room, and I try to get the surveying. Or other kind of picture is get macro. So it's a lens for macro and getting the details, and also the details inside the details. So we can go very close and shows these small things, even a bat, and the detail of the bat in the elictate. And also the geomorphology. So here we can see this room and the river dissolution canyon at the rock. And I like very much to show like this aspect for speleogenesis analysis. And we have this one and this other in the same room, but in another angle, with an action also. When we can mix action and morphology is the perfect. Like here we can see some speleothemes, very curious speleothemes. Also water also fits very well in the underground pictures. So you can explore like colors and movement. Like here I got this guy climbing with a blue lake under him, and the colors and the movement was very, very good. Also, if you have a flash, you can get right moments, or put your flash inside the water to illuminate the water, if it's waterproof, of course. Or even get the reflection. Reflection is a very nice resource. This is a quartzite caves. It's a huge lake in a quartzite caves, and we could stay in an expedition we made about called Luzes na Escuridão. After I will talk about this expedition, and we stayed in the quartzite caves. Or just get the beauty of the cave and people exploring the cave, exploring many times of rooms with river. Other kind of pictures I'm trying to get is interaction and funny. So get some moments of funny, like this one or this one, with someone surfing a rock wave, or even very happy to have found an exit of a labyrinthic room, or even happy with your friends just when you finished to explore the cave. We got a picture about the happiness. So my job, you can find more about this job in my website. It's a portfolio website, or even in this project, Luzes na Escuridão. So we have this book. We have 2 books. The first book was made 2 years ago, and last year we made another expedition. It's the main Brazilian caves, photographed, registered by many photographers for all around the world. So we have super photographers. There's Kevin Doney, Philippe Crochet, and many others that in registering Brazilian caves. And if you like maps and exploring histories, this other book is an atlas of the Brazilian caves. We have 300 pages about the Brazilian caves, the biggest Brazilian caves. Okay, that's it. So, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know how to stop. Okay, stop. Okay. All right.
Thank you so much for sharing with us the beauties of Brazil. Oh my God, I'm missing so much the caves and our country.
Brazil, but we don't have much time. In 10 minutes is a magic to talk about. Okay.
10 minutes is enough to make any Irish caver jealous of your cave stuff, because it's absolutely stunning. Like, we have nothing like that over here.
There's people asking if there is to post a link to these books. Well, I don't know if they will be there will be like a way to bring to Europe right now, but I believe that there is a way to buy them, and then after quarantine they can buy it as well.
If I'm not wrong, I have people in Europe with those books. Luzes na Escuridão, I'm sure that we have someone in France, or even in Spain. Victor Ferrer, I think Victor Ferrer has some exemplars to sell. He was with us in the last expedition, and maybe he has this book to sell. If not, we can send.
Perfect. We'll be leaving the links on the chat and down the comments as well when it finished. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Yeah. I don't know if Adam, Paul, or Lorenzo has some questions to do to Daniel right now. I brought some just to interact a bit, but if you have them, just you are more free than to do so.
Actually, yeah, no, with these lightweight equipment, do you ever use flash bulbs? The one-use flash bulbs?
Yeah, the bulbs, yes. But it's expensive and difficult to buy it. So yeah. I have not. I still have not. I use this about 3 or 4, and even 5 flashes and the sender, and that's it.
Fair enough.
Daniel, have you ever?
Which camera did you use to do the first Luzes na Escuridão? Because you said that you just bought the new camera, right? Yeah. So you did with the light cameras.
The first and the second expedition, I was with this one. This is a Sony Alpha 5. It's not expensive camera, and there is a it's quality, not like the best one, but you can have good quality, and you can just bring it in your pocket. It's very light.
Yeah, and you, well, of course you need to know how to use them as well.
Yeah, but I never made. I learned it by myself, just trying and trying and again and practicing. Practice makes perfect. Practice.
And which one of the caves was most difficult to make a shot or something, like some muddy cave or some really wet cave?
Yeah, of course, the most difficult is São Vicente Cave, because we have very violent river, many waterfalls. You are all the time inside the water or climbing with ropes and heavy backpacks, and you cannot talk with people. You have the atmosphere with many, water and strong noise. It's very difficult to make pictures there.
But they are really impressive. They are really impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing with us,
Daniel.
And oh, sorry.
Yeah. Have you ever dropped a camera or damaged any expensive equipment?
Yes. This camera, I was in San Vicente, and I lost the camera inside the water, just in a waterfall. I lost it. Then I found 10 minutes after, and the camera is still working, so it's not damaged.
Oh wow!
Yeah, Sony. It's an advertising of the brand, the Sony camera.
And Lorenzo, you have a bit of background doing photographs in canyons as well. Did you ever drown some of your materials, or?
Actually, yes. A few months ago, I was using the same shockproof case that I'm using in the caves, and I was passing through a waterfall, and the flow was very strong, probably too strong, and I was carrying the case near my waist. And all of a sudden, I just turned around just to get my camera out of the case, and take a picture. And I was horrified to see the case open, and the DSLR disappeared. So I just yelled something I don't even remember. I plunged into the water until I found it. Something like 15 minutes later.
Wow!
And it took a few days to dry it out, and actually it's still working. Yeah, so
good.
I was kind of impressed.
Which camera it was?
Always the Nikon D850.
Okay, good.
Okay, oh my God.
Yeah.
Adam, did you ever damage one of your materials?
No, never. I've been using the same peli case that my sister bought me a few years ago, and it's held up. It's really, really hard to get open. I don't think it would ever randomly open in a waterfall. That's actually my worst nightmare. I tend to not let people carry my bag through the cave because I fear that they're going to break it. But if anyone's going to break it, I'd be less mad if it was me.
I remember the shots with the GoPro, and you were so concerned about the lens.
Yeah, that's quite terrifying.
Yeah. So before we talk more about the photographs of Ireland again, is that okay if we go to Italy or any other places that we are going to show to us?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, so now we'll be talking to Lorenzo. Lorenzo is from Italy, but he has some background in other countries as well, such as in Spain. And you have some really amazing photos in Iceland as well, am I right?
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
So I would just let you talk as well, because as Daniel, I'm just so glad that you are here with us and you can share your shootings and your experience as well. So I will just let you talk Okay.
Okay. So I guess Paul has my picture. So if Paul, if you wanna display them, okay. So I just
get it up.
let me start saying that I started caving 4 or 5 years ago by my hometown, and I was looking for something similar to climbing. I've been climbing for 20 years, and at some point I wanted to change and to do something different without the hassle to keep training 3 or 4 times a week. So I found this activity, caving, and I felt lucky because I'm living near Carso, which is the region where karst, the name karst, stems from, and there are a lot of caves here. So I had the chance to do a lot of activity, and at some point I once again I was getting bored of all this caving. So uh, back then I had either to how can I say, step up with the difficulty or just change activity once again. So at some point I contacted another Italian caver who was exploring the deepest cave in Italy, and I joined their team. And as you can see probably from the pictures that Paul is supposed to display, yes, exactly, it's picture one. Okay, and basically that's a picture about it doesn't tell you much by itself, but it's a picture where basically you get almost at the end of the cave. It's roughly 1,300 meters below the surface, and it takes something like one full day to get there. And so I had the chance to visit that cave and help the explorations and even document it. And we spent 1 week underground, and then my curiosity kept me going. And another picture from the same cave is picture number 2. If you wanna, Paul, if you wanna bring this. Okay, that's another section of the cave where basically the explorers came up with an idea to bring a pump down there, because there was just a flooded tunnel, and they thought that probably pumping out the water in that section of the cave could open up another section of the cave, and so they did. And after that flooded tunnel, they explored something like some kilometers of tunnels, and then yes, sometimes I've been to Spain, where I have some friends, some cavers, who brought me to, for instance, if you're watching at picture number 3, that's a salt cave near Barcelona. It's a cave entirely made of salt. It's beautiful because you see all these wonderful layers of mud and salt, very dark mud, and pink and red salt, and then you see all these white stalactites and stalagmites, still made of salt. And then picture number 4, let me see. Oh yes, in picture number 4, we are in Switzerland and we are exploring some ice caves on the Alps. And when I found out that you have caves in the ice, I fell in love with it, and I keep going to glaciers every time I can. And the closest glaciers are in Switzerland, or at least on the Alps in large. And as you can see also from picture number 5, yes. And then probably the next year, so I'm talking about 2013, I went to the US for some weeks, and I had a chance to visit this pit, which is the deepest pit in the continental US. It's the cave is called Ellison's Cave, and this is the fantastic pit. It's just one single drop. So basically, you of course you're supposed to use the rock to rappel down. There's no other option, and it's a 600 feet drop, so 200 meters. It's amazing to see that place, and at some point I got into 360 degrees photography, so I was there also to try to take one spheric picture, which I didn't manage to do, and I ended up just taking this picture number 6, combining some pictures to kind of try to document the depth of the pit. And if you go on and you move on to picture number 7, that's Never Sink in Alabama. It's just one single pit and nothing else. That's the entire cave, but the pit is awesome. There are some little waterfalls running into it, and if you go there in July, there are some glowing worms on the walls. So if you go there during the night, you see all those worms glowing all around you. And then in the same year, I got some luck to share another trip with some friends, and we went to Iceland. If you want to start from pictures number 8, here we were setting our tents on the moraine by the Breda Mariokul glacier, and we spent basically 1 week over there. We weren't very lucky for the weather. It kept raining, and the rain kept us inside the tent for some days straight. But even if we had just a couple of days of good weather, we saw so many beautiful things, like what's that, picture number 10.
Apologies, that's picture number 9. Sorry, I skipped forward.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, do you want to move on?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, picture number 9 is just about my friends surveying and organizing the next descent in one that later on we found it was the deepest pit that was in that region. It was just a 200 meters pit, and we didn't get to the end because we didn't have enough rope, and there was so much moisture in the air that the risk was for drowning. So we stopped around 130 meters, so roughly halfway down, and the pit was impressive. It was a monster. It was very large. There was an incredible waterfall running into it, and then we found another small cave, which you can see, of course, on picture number 10. It was amazing to see all these ice, crystal clear ice, and then picture number 11 is the last one. It's the last cave I visited in Iceland. After that, I just went straight back to the car and I drove to the airport. So yeah, I felt lucky. I got to see something kind of unique, probably as much as Daniel down there in Brazil.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this, Lorenzo. They are really amazing pictures as well.
Thank you for having called me.
Oh, that's no bothers. And I don't know if Daniel or Adam or Paul want to do you some questions, or if I can do mine.
I probably have a million questions about the ice caves, but
yeah, they're all really, really beautiful. And sorry about the delay in the photos as well. I'm still getting used to this live stream stuff.
Oh, congratulations, Lorenzo, because the pictures, the photos are amazing. And
Thank you.
I just have a question about those photos made in the ice. So what is what's the most difficult thing when you are making photos inside the ice? Is it the cold, or you have another kinds of particularity that make it hard?
Probably the toughest thing is when your lenses fog, because the temperature is very low. Well, outside the caves, the temperature could drop even below zero. Usually, inside those caves, the temperature is always around freezing temperature. But anyway, it's still very, very cold. And if you are staying there for some days, basically you just wanna. Well, I ended up sleeping with all my gear just to keep it warm and avoiding to fog all the lenses, because you don't wanna spend hours just to explore a cave, to put the ice screws in the ice, descend, and blah blah blah, just to get down there and realize that you won't be able to take pictures. So yeah, that's probably the only difficulty.
Lorenzo, the one in the US where you have the way the person is duplicated, I'm guessing you took multiple photos then and stitched those together?
Yes, I did. Usually I don't like to use Photoshop, because my philosophy is just doing what you can with one single shot, and that would be your documentation. I don't wanna try to fake it somehow. So that's the only time I wanted to to get something slightly different from usual. And since it's just one very big and one straight drop, I wanted to sort of convey the sense of the dimensions of the pit, just adding some other climbers on the same rope.
And it's a really impressive photo.
Thank you.
Yeah. Adam, you said you had some questions about the ice in the caves.
I mean, I probably have a million. I'll have to think of them. And although I do agree with what you said, like actually about the ice caves, like I have a bit of experience taking photographs in caves with ice, not ice caves, and I find it's.
Adam, sorry, you were muted.
You're muted.
Yeah.
I was going to say that the ice caves have a bit of experience taking photos in caves with ice. And I find it actually kind of makes, provided the lens isn't fogged up, it makes taking the photos a little bit easier because it reflects the light so well. Did you find that in the caves where it's completely made of ice?
Yes. Actually, it's I would say 10 times easier to take pictures in the ice, just because the light keeps bouncing from one side to the other, and everything is very well lit. In comparison, it's very, very tough. It's very, very difficult to think about where to put your flashes in a regular cave. So yeah, I'm kind of spoiled. Once you explore ice caves, you don't go back.
Yeah, they look like a big challenge. Yeah, Adam, I think you could relate it maybe some with the ice caves in Dashton.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Like,
great, yeah.
I doing cave photography in Ireland is a million times more difficult than it was up in Daxstein. Because just the rock was so smooth and white in Daxstein, as well as some of the caves would have ice and snow in the entrances. So that would reflect the light so well. Whereas in Ireland, you'd have really muddy, shirty black rock, and it's quite difficult. I'll talk about that later.
Cool. Yeah. I think we just could remind people that Dashten is in Austria, because I don't know if everyone knows. But yeah, so as we are talking about this difference, I think it's with you now. Yeah. So Adam.
Yeah. So I'll share my
I'll just
screen.
as everyone is here, like I just would like to thank you as well to be here with us and to just do amazing work here in Ireland as well. We photograph and being in all the places, photographing everything as well, and exploring caves. Meanwhile, they're taking photographs, and it's just great. Thank you. So just let you talk.
So I need to figure out how to share my screen. That's just right. So
yeah,
you tell me if you can see this, Paul.
Yes, I can, but they can't. Yeah. Just give me 1 second.
Yes, we do.
Okay, they can see you now, Adam.
Grand. So really, actually, what I wanted to talk about was how I take my photos, really, and how I go from what I would personally consider a bad photo with bad light and no depth to a photo that I would consider impressive with a lot of depth and really good lighting. So this photo is a photo that I took maybe 4 years ago when I first started cave photography, and you can see like it's really like flat and two-dimensional looking. It's really harsh lighting. This is a 15-meter, 20-meter pitch in Fermanagh in County Fermanagh in Ireland, and it has no sense of dimension to the photo. And this is another one. This is Carramore Caverns. This is my sister's husband, looking really quite miserable. And it's just another one, really flat and no dimension to the photo. And these are all photos I think that I just used the onboard flash on my camera to take. So this, I think, is what most beginners do when they bring their camera into a cave. They'll just put it on automatic mode, figure out how to focus their camera, and then just turn the flash on, and you'll get this really washed out, horrible looking image. And here's, two other ones. So yeah, I think the photo on the right is a picture of me in Shannon Cave, and this is the first time I ever brought my camera into a cave, and that was just automatic mode. There's nothing to the image, not really photography. So with that, I think this is the first image that I ever managed to take with a sense of dimension to it, using just one flash. And this is when I figured out, okay, this is how I always want to do cave photography. So what I did was, it was just focus the camera on the person in the foreground and shine the flash from behind. That's all. I had probably a decently long enough exposure to get the headlamps to be so bright. But other than that, just use the one flash, and then you end up with an image that looks like this. And I fell in love with that kind of photography. Really strong silhouettes and this kind of halo effect in the background. I think people ask me like a lot how I get photos like this, and really that's all you need is just a flash or two flashes. Yeah, here's another image, pretty much the same image, just vertical. I have a person down at the bottom, there's two flashes, and I'm hanging off a rope at the top, just point my camera down. And for these photos, these ones are actually quite difficult to do without flash triggers. Can you actually see me in person? Yeah, so I've got these flash triggers. So if there's anyone who wants to get into cave photography, so when I first started, I had borrowed a bunch of flashes and I didn't have any wireless triggers to set the flashes off. So I found a huge problem was me trying to press the button on my camera and give the flash to someone else and count down like 3, 2, 1 and try and get everyone to sync their flashes at the same time. So the best thing I ever bought was wireless triggers that you just mount on the top of your camera, and you mount one on the bottom with a flash. You all know that. But what happens then is I just press the shutter and then all the flashes go off automatically. And that really, really helps with a shot like this, where you're in a massive echoey chamber, 40 meters deep, and you can't actually hear the person down at the bottom. And you're trying to sync up the flashes, just pressing the shutter and having it go off automatically really makes cave photography a million times easier. So here's another one that I took. This is Gaping Gill in the UK, which is one of the largest cave systems in the UK. This one is taken, there's two, pretty much the same kind of style of photo. You just have two strong backlights. And generally, I don't really like to use front lighting because I like the silhouette effect, unless I really want to get facial expression or get a pop of color off the people. But yeah, this is my style of cave photography. I really like a strong sense of dimension. Here's just another two. The one on the left is Jingling Pot in the Yorkshire Dales, and the one on the right, I cannot remember the name right now, but similar style in all cases. The one on the left, I think, has got a really good sense of dimension. You've got I do actually have a front light down at my feet, and I've given a flash to the person on the rope, and you also have the light coming in from the surface, which really does give a really good sense of scale to the photo. Another thing I think that is really important with my photos, though, if possible, is a dynamic photo. So I really like when there's a sense of movement in the photo. So like trying to capture waterfalls, like in this last image. The waterfall here, people moving, people climbing ropes. I think that's, I would say, important in my cave photography, because that's what I like to capture is cavers in action. I think it's a quite funny story for the photo on the right. I pretend like I know what I'm doing a lot of the time when I'm taking photos in caves, but really it's just me pressing the button, telling people to move around until I get a photo that looks nice. And the photo on the right was taken in Dachstein, or not in Dachstein, it was taken in Austria, but I had taken that photo maybe 20 times. Matthew was hanging on the rope for a very long time. I was trying to communicate with two Austrians down at the bottom who just didn't understand what I was saying. And then I accidentally knocked some rocks down and shouted below, and they ran away and dropped my flashes on the ground. And I realized then, all right, I'm not getting this photo. And I was trying to call them back to pick up the flashes to try and put them back, and they just had disappeared. So I just took one more photo, and it turns out they had dropped the flashes in such a way that this image turned out perfectly. And I think it's my favorite photo that I've ever taken in a cave. I think it looks, I don't know, beautiful. But yeah, it's just a more action shot. I think dimension on a photo is really important too. So the backlight will generally give a good sense of dimension, but if you can also put rocks in the foreground or a river in the foreground, or use leading lines in your photo, like the scaffolding bar on the top left, even though it's out of focus, it really does give that extra sense of dimension. That's really, I suppose, what caving is. You've got this three-dimensional passage that you're trying to represent on a two-dimensional image, so if you can't get depth in it, it's not going to look very good. It's the same kind of deal. And another action shot. And this was actually what I did want to say. This is the same photo. The one on the left was the first photo that I had taken, or the first photo of this presentation, the one I took 4 years ago. And this is the same photo on the right, taken a few months ago, just before Christmas, with strong backlight, good sense of dimension, a bit of an action shot. I changed the angle, I moved the camera down below the knot, and you can see the difference that just a single front-facing flash and backlighting does makes an absolutely massive difference to the photo. And I think just doing that alone will take any complete novice to expert-looking photos like instantly. This is the same cave just from the bottom. Actually, I do say that this photo has nice lighting. It's about as nice as it can get because this cave is incredibly difficult to photograph. It's made mostly of chert, which is really black rock. You don't really get it up in alpine caves, I don't think. So like in Dachstein or ice caves, you've got a lot of light reflecting off the walls. This cave just absorbs every bit of light you throw out. So I remember having to ramp up all my flash full power just to get this image. But doing that did make the waterfall illuminate really, really nicely. And that's the same as this cave here. This is Temple Shethrick in County Leitrim or County Sligo in Ireland. It's really, really black rock. So I had to ramp up the power on the flashes massively. But it reflects off the water beautifully and gives this really, really high contrast image, which I think is gorgeous. And that's what I was saying about ice as well. Ice reflects light so well. So if you ever have ice in caves, you don't really need to use high power flashes. Just even having them on low power gets a really, really well lit image. I think it's pretty much the same deal, just people on ropes and strong backlights. Also, if you can get a flash behind a calcite formation, a lot of people don't know that they're quite translucent, so you can get a really nice glowing formation just by putting a flash or a head torch behind it. And more joy. I think that's what Daniel was saying. You want to capture joy of caving, people in their element. I really, really love this image. Anyway, so that's all of my stuff. I think, yeah, that's me.
And thank you, Adam, for sharing those as well. They are amazing photos. My favorite was you showing the same pitch before and after.
I only realized that maybe a few minutes before the presentation that I had two photos of the same thing. Stop sharing. I only realized I had two photos of the same thing, and I was like, oh my god, the difference is absolutely incredible. Like just changing the position of a flash from front to behind creates a completely different photo, and that's for the first time I noticed how to do that. That's the technique I use to start every single image. I never go into a cave thinking, I'm going to do this with that. I just go in, I'm like, right, you stand there, and I'll put a flash behind them every time, and I'll always get something that looks all right and work from there.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for sharing with us. And I don't know if Lorenzo or Paul or Danielle has some question for you, and or if I can just start talking.
Of course I know, but what is
well, the photo very nice, and I like very much the way you did showing the after without the flash behind, and then the same picture. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, we have, I think that the same style. I haven't shown many pictures about pits and action inside the caves, but I think we have a very similar style.
Yeah.
And how did you develop it? Did you start from something easy, or you already knew you want to do that and you kept
I think I'd seen probably maybe looking at someone's caving Instagram and thought, hey, a backlight, that probably works quite well. So I had been trying to take cave photos for probably like 3 years maybe, and they just looked bad crap. And I just kind of tried that. Actually, it was difficult because the flashes that were given were all broken, and I was trying for like 10 minutes to take this one photo, and eventually one came out and I was like, oh, that's how it works. That's how you do cave photography. I do see a lot of people taking photo on pitches or deep pits where they will they won't backlight the subject going down the rope, but they'll give a flash to the person on the rope and flash down, which gives another really kind of dramatic effect looking down on a pitch. But I've never been able to manage that and get a nice photo. Do you ever do photos like that?
Yes. Well, sometimes I'm just caving with just few cavers, so there are not enough people to use the lights the way you want it to. So I ended up attaching one flash to a little rope, and the caver that is descending the pit, the caver that is on the rope and is going to be the subject of my picture, usually has the flash right below him, pointing upward, of course, and that's how I came up with a solution when you don't have enough helpers to do all the things and all the nasty jobs.
I once got a tip from someone, Mark Berkey. I don't know if you know him. He's very
I know him,
British case photographer. But I had messaged him about a photo that he had taken. Actually, I tried to take the same photo as him, but it just looked quite bad. So he told me how he took it, and he had sellotaped like a flash onto his leg, just so he could have an extra hand while taking the camera, and he had a flash taped to his leg just for some more light because he didn't have enough people, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it happened to me as well.
Yeah, having enough people is always a problem.
We can develop our equipment like a tripod to fix in the people, and then we have the back flash, like this. Would be nice.
Yeah, the amount of times I've nearly dropped my camera in a river because I'm trying to hold my own other flash away.
Yeah.
For me, the biggest challenge was coming from landscape photography is the light, because in landscape photography, you have light everywhere. And in fact, most of the time, you're actually chasing a sunset or the sunrise. And so you're never having to worry about flashes or setting up the scene correctly and trying to set the scene whenever the whole place is pitch black, because you don't want to waste your batteries on your head torch by burning it at full brightness.
That's actually one thing I never do. Is I think 100% of my cave photography is flash photography. I never ever do long exposure and use head torches. You do a lot of that, though, don't you, Daniel? Long exposure.
Yeah, sometimes I use the long exposure. When I didn't have a flash, I use it all time. But now I am always with 3 or 4 flashes. Then I don't use. I use very quick because you have more sharpie photos and more quality.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe sometimes in a huge room you can use long exposure and light painting to but it's not the best.
I think that's where you need the expensive flash bulbs for the big rooms. Robbie Schoen uses them, and one Irish cave photographer friend of mine, he uses flash bulbs, and his photos are absolutely fantastic. And he's really good at taking photos of very large chambers. I'm not very good at that. I struggle a lot with I use 3 flashes, so I find that quite difficult.
Yeah, right.
We have a question here from James Smith. It's just for everyone. Do you use fully waterproof flashes or put them in translucent dry bags?
That's a really nice question.
Yes, for instance, I put them in waterproof bags.
I don't think this is very waterproof. It's gotten quite wet before just from my hands, but I wouldn't want to test it.
Yeah,
I did once put it in a bag.
Yeah, I just leave mine out of the bag, so I do, to be honest.
Yeah. I that same cave I said was my favorite cave photo I'd ever taken. Me and my friend, Matthew Brie, we went to the bottom of the cave and we had brought pizza. We brought entire pizza in Polly Pockets down to the very bottom of the cave. There was a sump at the bottom of the cave, and I had always wanted to try illuminating the water with the flash, but I didn't want to dunk it in the water, so I put the flash. We ate the pizza and put the flash in the Polly Pockets, and that seemed to work reasonably well. But yeah, you couldn't fully submerge it. No, they're not waterproof, for sure.
So there's another question there from Nihili. I'm not too sure. Can you share with us fully waterproof flashes brand reference? I personally don't know of any, but anyone else?
I don't know either.
I don't think they exist, actually.
No.
I think flash bulbs. Are they waterproof?
No, because if you get
them off.
If you get the stem wet, then it's a goner. It might actually.
I think a lot of flash bulbs.
I don't know how people take photos underwater, but I believe they could use like
they've got special casings.
Yeah, like I believe they could use the same.
Very, very expensive.
Yeah.
I was looking at a waterproof case for my camera. It was more expensive than my camera.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Most of times you just adapt with some sack or, use your creativity.
Yeah. In Portuguese, we have a really good word for that. It calls gambiarra, which is a really weird way that you do something, but it actually works. So just to bring the vocabulary for you guys.
I like to pretend I know what I'm doing with cave photography, but really 100% of the time I'm just, does this work? No, and it doesn't work. And I eventually, that one works, we're done.
Yeah.
So just on the flash bulbs bit, Adam, Robert Mulroney's just messaged in there to the chat, good friend of ours. He says that flash bulbs are submergible, but if the contacts of the gun go underwater, instant death.
Yeah. Thankfully, they're very expensive, and I can't afford them. Also, as far as I'm aware, I don't know, maybe Rob can tell us about that, but you can't wirelessly trigger flash bulbs, so you have to time them. So that's not something I would be too keen on.
And Rob, if you're listening us, you'll be contacted soon. So just check your chat, okay? Just to leave you this message here for you because we're not friends on Facebook.
Yeah, for instance, once I tried to put a couple of flashes underwater. Of course, I fitted them inside waterproof bags first. But actually, when they are underwater, they're not working. You cannot trigger them with a wireless trigger.
Oh, really? Okay, well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Doesn't work.
How would you trigger them? Just manually press the button?
Oh, that could be a solution, actually. Yes. Great.
Get someone under the water.
That's something to try, for sure.
Yeah. And Paul, would you mind to remind everyone about our photograph challenge?
Yes. The SUI are currently running a photography challenge. So there's a number of challenges in which you can enter into, and you can win some prizes from Starless River. So they're £20, I think, Starless River vouchers. I'm just trying to get the email about it. So yes, we have 3 photography challenges currently running, and they are The first one is the Technical Cave Photography Challenge, where you can set up your cave and try to take the most technical looking shot you can. The next one is the Best Novice Shot. If you have a phone and you have 2 helmet lights, you can try to take the best shot you can in the dark. The third competition is then the Creative Caving, where you can get creative and take your funniest lockdown caving shots. And the entries for all of these will close on the 13th of June. And you can enter the competitions by making a submission to undergroundeditor@caving.ie or info@caving.ie. There's also a literary competition currently being run, which is the theme of the joy of caving. So you will submit a piece to the info@caving.ie, and you can have a chance to win a £30 Stardust River gift voucher. And that's them all current. So yeah, Camilla.
Yep. So thank you for sharing with us, Paul, and for everyone that is enjoying our live streams. Just check our Facebook and Instagram, or even your email, because we are going to share the next one with you from there. And if you'd like to participate of our competition, just access our website or just check our Facebook page as well. We have all the information there as well. And if you have any more questions, or if you would like to interact more with us, just leave a comment or just chat with us in the chat below here, or just bring it to us. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. And thank you so much, you guys, for being here and for accepting our invitation and for sharing all the amazing shootings that you all have and your knowledge. And if you have any ideas about the next themes or subjects, just let us know as well. Okay, I hope you had enjoyed it, and because I enjoyed a lot. It was so great to see some pictures again from Brazil. And it was so nice to see some ice caves as well, and to remind how is caves in Ireland. And so I would just like to thank you all. Okay, and I hope you see you soon.
Thank you very much, Camilla. Thank you for organizing everything.
Thank you, Camilla. So do I. I hope we see you all very soon, and that we can share a cave and make some photos together.
Yay.
Yes. Thank you, Camilla. Thank you, Camilla, for having called me. And it was nice to meet Daniel, Adam, and Paul. And Adam, if you get a chance to go caving with Camilla, please, just a suggestion: never talk about the women's skills in driving. She might kill you. The skills of women when they are driving.
Yeah, I've been driving with
She
Camilla
might
a
kill
few
you.
times. I've been caving with Camilla a few times. I know how to deal with her.
And thank you, Paul, for putting and setting this all up. And just thank you for do the live stream, basically, because without you we won't be able to do it at all. So thank you so much for setting this up. Okay,
no worries at all. Anytime.
Thanks for having us anyways.
Yeah. All right, so thank you guys again and for watching, and I believe we do an after between us here. And yeah, that's it. So thank you for watching.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And let me just transition.